hello there, guys. If you are joining right now, we are just waiting for a few to come in. Whilst you're here, let us know where you're coming from, where in the world you are, because that's always fun to see. So come on and let us know. We're just going to give it a few more minutes before we start, so that people can join. But yeah, let us know in the chat bar where you are coming from, because we'd love to know. Where have we got? Prague. Ooh.
Ah,
yes.
That's exciting.
Right, I know.
Where are you from? Where are you calling from, Beck?
I'm from London.
You're calling from London.
London, yeah. We've got Munich, awesome. We've got Rome, we've got India.
I feel like you guys are so exotic. I'm calling in from Brisbane, Australia. Like currently 8 p.m. over here, and like it's not as exotic as you guys.
You say that because you live there. Like, well, you know, as soon as you don't live there, you know, it seems very exotic for everyone else. It's like the other side of the world. It's like a different planet there.
Thank you for making me feel nice.
Amazing.
Oh, that's cool.
So we'll just give it a few more minutes, wait till everybody come along.
Yeah, cool.
Yes.
I'm really excited about this. I'm setting up some of the YouTube stuff in the background so we can do a live kind of like demonstration of how it works for business. It's going to, I hope there are some pleasant surprises around here that you discover as we go through this. YouTube for Business is just the wildest thing. It's wildly overlooked, but really if you think about, you know, blogs and things like that, blogs have driven a lot of business in the past. And YouTube is just, it's the video version of that. So I'm so excited about like showing you guys what's here. Yeah.
I'll just answer this question quickly. Yes, we are recording. So if you don't catch this, it will be up on YouTube. Funny. It'll be up on YouTube to be able for you to access afterwards. So if you do have to step out, don't worry. We understand that the timings don't work for everybody, but no problem at all. Okay, we've got a few more coming on. We'll let it go. We'll let it come on in. Yeah, as I say, guys, if you are joining, let us know where you're from. We want to see where you are in the world. This is the cool thing about a small world, is that we've got everybody from everywhere, and we all get to join on with these online chats for everyone. We've got another London countryside out in London. How beautiful. So nice. We haven't got the weather here in London yet. Hopefully the sun's going to peek through soon.
Oh yeah, hang on. So we are coming into autumn here in Australia. You guys would be coming into spring.
Yes, exactly.
Oh wow.
But saying that the weather's quite the same, isn't it? The spring and the I always say around this time of year it's the time when we actually start to match kind of Australia just for a second, and then it goes again.
Yeah, that's right. Well, normally around this time, like I think, for example, when you're on social media and you're seeing all of your friends who are in Europe enjoying the warm weather and the sun, and you're here in Australia and it's looking dreary or a bit grey.
It's never dreary or grey, especially where you're on, because you're coming in from Brisbane. You're not even in Sydney.
I would love to know if anyone in the audience has actually been to Brisbane, Australia.
Oh, okay. That's one. Anyone, let us know. Let us know.
I know that you guys are travelers, and the thing is, I'm not from Brisbane. I'm originally from South Australia. I'm Filipino background from South Australia. And I remember thinking back in the day that, like, what's in Brisbane? Like, Brisbane was kind of like this city on the background. Everyone knew about Sydney and Melbourne, but never Brisbane. And I was like, I'm never going to move there. And now I've discovered it's like the best state for the best weather. And ever since the lockdown, not everyone, a lot of people from Sydney and Melbourne are moving to Brisbane.
Wow.
So yeah, if anyone has not yet been here, which is, I assume, a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, we haven't got any clue. I can say I've been, because I've lived in Brisbane, and I'm totally biased about Brisbane because Brisbane is just, you know, my favorite. It is. I love it.
Truly.
Yeah, because the weather's amazing there. The lifestyle, it's just perfect.
It is.
All right. Okay, I think we're going to get started. So we're going to have, you know, people will be joining as we sort of start, but I want to get started for everybody that is already here. Okay, so welcome, Kristine. Welcome to A Small World. Thank you so much for coming on. I've been really excited about this one because I just really think that what you do is so niche, but it's also so reaches the masses in so many different ways. And I think it's one of those things, and so many people here will probably agree, is that it's kind of a untapped area, which, and what you know is that if you utilize it in the way that you do, you can really it can really help to kind of boom your business or your personal kind of endeavors in that sense. So I'm just going to give you a little intro into Kristine. So Kristine Fernandez is a YouTube expert and teaches coaches, healers, course creators and service providers how to create content that reflects their authentic personal brand on social media. Starting off as a content creator after leaving her position as an international flight attendant in 2017, Kristine's digital journey has evolved from multimedia content creation to direction to now education. Currently supported by Nikon as a Z creator, Kristine uses her video blogging tools to create educational content to help businesses leverage the online space to amplify their impact and reach more people around the world. Wow, Kristine, what a woman, hey.
Beautiful intro.
Thank you. I did get it from you, so
that's what we've been here for. So yeah.
Amazing. So Kristine's going to sort of go into things for us now and sort of take on the reins. She's got a beautiful PowerPoint presentation that she's going to be speaking through as well. Just with regards to any questions at all that you might have, please let us know. We've got the Q&A there, so just pop them in, and we're going to be doing Q&A at the end of the session. So please do pop them in whilst they pop up, because I know they come into your head whilst we're all speaking. But yeah, if there's anything pressing, drop it in the chat. Let us know what you're thinking about stuff as well. It's always good to see people interacting. But yeah, I'm going to hand it over to Kristine.
Thank you very much for that introduction. So I'm Kristine. I'm a YouTube coach, and I help business owners basically create content that connects with their audiences on YouTube. It's been an interesting journey, because you're absolutely right, exactly how you described it. YouTube is a really untapped kind of place. And if anyone here has had any experience with YouTube, I would assume that one of the most popular experiences out there is when you're looking for an answer for something, like how to cook something, how to, do composting or cooking or anything like that. And or if anyone's got any kids here, maybe your experience with YouTube is primarily for your kids' kind of entertainment. But it's actually one of the most powerful untapped places for a business. And one of the main reasons is because it is a search engine. But we are going to dive into that a lot deeper in this presentation. So in this presentation, I'm going to show you some of the features of why, like some of the features that YouTube has that tells us why it works really well for businesses, whether you're product or service based. But my specialty is in service, but it also really works very well for products. And I've worked with clients who are product providers as well. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you, and I'll give you a bit of background of like where this all began. So I actually stumbled upon YouTube kind of like not by accident, but because I had a need. I spent my entire 20s flying as an international flight attendant. And so on my resume, what I'm actually qualified for is aviation jobs and or hospitality, a lot of entry point careers, which was totally fine, except I spent my 20s traveling around the world as a flight attendant. And when I came back to Australia, I actually wanted to get into corporate marketing. I spent 12 months applying for all of the marketing jobs ever. I think there was about 64 applications that are put out there. About 90% of them were rejected, and about like the remaining 10% got me into an interview. But when it came to the end of it, my resume simply did not display that I had the proof that I would, proof that I could execute on this role, even though I had a degree. Like I have a degree in communications and media and experience in marketing. So what I'm saying here is that my paperwork did not show for what I needed it to show for to get my foot in the door to build my own, like the next part of my career path. Anyway, when I was flying, when I was a flight attendant, I took up photography as a hobby. So when I came back to Australia, part of me was doing photography, and I started photographing Instagram influencers of all the things. Like, anyway, wow. It was, I met people who needed their, actually, I would send them messages on Instagram. I'd ask if anyone wanted photos. And really that's where this all began. I started photographing some people who are really growing in the online space, actually some European influencers for luxury brands. And I thought, like, it just opened my eyes to the world of digital marketing. I thought, wow, like, I've never seen this before, where people so young, their life is completely changed by these digital platforms. And so I thought, okay, if I'm having like this massive barrier, a massive barrier of getting into the corporate world, perhaps I could be on social media and build my own brand. And then that way I don't have to worry about someone rejecting me. And so I tried Instagram, and you know what, like, it was nice, but I'm the photographer, right? So I didn't have anyone to like take my photos. So here I am thinking, oh, I'll just do what the influencers are doing and I'll do it myself. But then it turns out like that was quite hard. And anyway, in one of my day jobs, like one of my temporary day jobs, I found myself like on YouTube, youtube.com. And I see this girl who I know, and I'm like, I know her and she's doing really well on YouTube. And I thought, if she can do it, I can do it. So I messaged my friend and I said, I think I'm going to do YouTube. I know nothing about it, but maybe I'm just going to try. And she said, yeah. She goes, if I have one tip for you, it's just post one video a week, and everything else, like, learn it as you go. And I took that piece of advice and I ran with it and I made it my life. Anyway, in 6 months' time, I literally went from like 12 months of absolute rejection, lost no identity, no credibility, couldn't get in where I wanted to 0 to 20,000 subscribers in 6 months. Now, this isn't just about subscribers and numbers, but what I was able to do on YouTube that I could not do with paperwork was to show what I could do. It was not, I'm showing, not telling. And so anytime I wanted to run a project, if I wanted to run a campaign, the yeses were like, came in like left, right, and center. I wanted to start this initiative. Yes, yes, yes. And then since then got featured by these different publications for that work. And that really, like, YouTube really changed the trajectory of my career. And that made me realize how powerful it was, because you really have no barrier to entry. Like, and I'm saying that in such a way that the audience is there, and search engines like YouTube display to us that when you provide a solution for audiences, then it doesn't really matter what your history is. If what you're providing upfront is of value, they, by their own search behaviors, are able to connect with you. So what I'm saying is, if you create content for your business and you put it on a search engine sort of platform where, you know, you write words and titles that people are searching for, then it's just this authentic connection. So anyway, that was my history with social media, with YouTube. But before we go into YouTube, I would assume that there's a couple of, businesses on here that prioritize social media. Now, social media is quite different from YouTube itself, from search engine. And the reason why I say that is because social media is more focused on social interaction, right? So you might have places like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn. They're all social media platforms, which means that you can post content and connect with people, but the search functionalities are very limited. Whereas YouTube is primarily a search engine platform with social functions. And what I mean by that is, if you've ever been on YouTube, here's your content, here's your video, and you've got the comment section below, which people can comment. And that gives you a lot of insight to what your audience is thinking, what they're thinking, what they want, which is all data. It's all data for your business, right? So, so let's talk about first, before we dive into YouTube, we'll distinguish a couple of the blocks. Like, if you've only been focusing on social media platforms, which they're great. I love social media. Like, I just, making content for it is super fun. But if you're actually thinking about it as a place to grow your business, we'll cover like 3 main blocks that a lot of people don't see. That's the wrong screen. So let me share the right screen. So there's 3 main blocks. No, that's still the wrong screen. One more. Oh yeah, no, this is the right screen. It's the wrong tab. Okay, here we go. Can you see? What can you see?
It's
Can you see
Chris. Oh, there we go. There we go.
okay, cool. So there are three main blocks that are often overlooked, mainly because social media is trending. So there's nothing wrong with like platforms being trending, because if they're trending, then people are using them. That just means that people are using them. But when it comes to like growing online with ease, like if you want to grow online with ease, then you've also got to be aware of some of the blocks that exist. So block number one is the fact that people need to know your username in order to find you. So we're talking about Instagram, any social media platform. In order for someone to find you, they need to know your name, which is, you know, it sounds like it's not a big block, but it can be if you're wanting to reach new audiences. So think about how your username is constructed, right? My username is Miss Fernandez __, right? So if someone's wanting to discover YouTube, where else can they, you know, if they type into the search field and they type in YouTube, I've strategically put Brisbane YouTube social media as my name. But had I not done that, there is nowhere else that someone could actually search for me if they don't know what my name is. Now, have a think about like your business, right? So your business might be known to the people who've been loyal customers. And with social media, you're kind of hoping, not really hoping, but you will get known when people share your content or your account, or if you collaborate with others. But it's kind of tricky to get discovered autonomously. Just like it's hard to be discovered by just being there. Now, YouTube is different. You can literally just exist on YouTube with one singular video, which has the right title, and get found autonomously, right? Because it's a search engine. This is a simple block, the username piece, but it's also the one difference between, you know, someone wanting to find a kinesiologist, for example, and either finding you or not finding you. So, and that is the journey of the customer. Now, in saying that, like, you know, our social media platforms really do evolve to cater to that. I think over the period of time that social media has been around, they realize that when people spend a lot of time on this, there needs to be some sort of functionality that helps people find what they want to look for. And hence we have things like hashtags, geo tags, and of late we have music, so you can actually type in music. And that's with, I would say that the intention is to make your customer journey like a bit smoother so that you get to find what you want. The only challenge with that is that results are a bit scattered. So let's have a look at this. These should be automatically playing. On the left-hand side, you can see I've searched for the word kinesiologist. And if you see like the video footage there or the screen recording, you'll see that the way that the search results are ordered is basically it's a little bit scattered. It's based on popularity, most recent post, and you kind of have to scroll through with no real indication of, if you click on that, what are you going to find? Like on YouTube, it's different. Like if you click on something, you can expect, you know what to expect. Whereas here, if you click on a post, you're only drawn to that post by its aesthetic, but you don't know what you're going to find. So that's one of the reasons why this is not the place that people go to when they're ready to really to go deep in their shopping, unless you're like an e-commerce brand. E-commerce can work really well, but you can see just the way that things are set out, it's not the most user-friendly. Same thing goes with the content on the right-hand side, which is geotags. Geotags is when you're searching by location, and I typed in Brisbane, Australia, and this is even more kind of random, because if anyone uses the geotag, the location tag, you're not even filtering by genre, you're not filtering by the product that you want to buy or the service provider you want to buy. You're literally just trying to see what's happening in that area, and there's no further categorization from that. So it's quite general. But yeah, those search functions do exist. I think these still work really well. Like if I were traveling to Munich and I just wanted to see what's going on in Munich, like what's available to me, perhaps I would type in Munich and then just try to see like who's there, what's going on there. But the order in which things are presented is not the most kind of preferable way to find what I want to find or what you want to find as a customer. So that was block number one, which is people need to know your username to really be able to find you, which is why some businesses find it really tricky to grow on that platform, because number one, it's the username. Number two, so the second block is that content gets old every time you share new posts. And the reason is because of the chronological kind of layout of the platform. So that goes for Instagram, that goes for Facebook. So if you're a content creator for your business, generally what will happen is you might release something really high quality. You might have invested in photographers, videographers, content creators, social media manager. And what really happens is like that content will age for every time you put new content out there. Now, the thing about social media platforms is in order to grow, you must post often. So it's kind of like by detriment, you can, by detriment, you're like, because you want to grow, you're posting a lot. But because of that, a lot of your other content can get old. This doesn't mean anything completely bad, honestly, about social media, because like I said, I love social media, but if I were out there to really grow my business, there are other platforms. What you need with these social media platforms is another more kind of robust platform that will support the short lifespan of content on social media. So if you have content that is supported, that like doesn't really get old, then it doesn't really matter how often you post up here and how often you invest your time and money and energy in investing here, because you have another platform that supports that. But this is just so that you're aware that if you're already doing this but you don't have any other platforms, it can be, you might feel like you're just on this kind of like wheelhouse, like, like hamster wheel of content creation and waiting for something to happen. But when it comes to YouTube, okay, so the difference between like social media and YouTube is by the time that an audience gets into search engines like Google and YouTube, they're very intentional about finding what they want to find. So have to think about, if you're out there and you're ready to discover something like human design, like I'm ready to invest in getting my human design chart read, I would likely go to somewhere like a search engine like Google or YouTube, because I'm interested in the details. So what happens with the customer journey is like when you're ready to make the investment, that's when details become a very like relevant thing. And that's why YouTube becomes a very, powerful platform for businesses. Now, let's go into block number 3. Basically, the interface of social media platforms is that your content, let's say your business content, it's mixed with other genres. So think of yourself as a follower on social media, right? Your social media feed is consisted of everything that you're interested in, your friends, your family, brands that you want to shop for, anything that's inspired you. So as a business, on the other side of the thing, so if not as a consumer, but as a business, when you're investing all of that time and energy and effort in, growing your business on places like Instagram, to be aware that that content that you place out there is in the mix with other content, just empowers you a little bit more to understand, okay, if this is some really high value content, how can I make this content live longer and make it searchable, so that yes, I'm providing value on Instagram, but when I put it on another platform, it just allows that content that we've already invested in to live longer. So when you're aware of this, it's amazing, because then you can sort of like, you can really build a social media ecosystem for your business that's nice, and all of the platforms support each other. I love all platforms, and there's a time and a place for each platform to really plug into your business and help your productivity, your profitability. So speaking of YouTube, basically why it's so powerful, like I said, is because it is a search engine. It's the second largest search engine in the world, owned by the largest search engine in the world. So Google is the largest search engine in the world, and they own YouTube. So, and what I mean by evergreen content basically means like your content is, as long as it's relevant, it's not like a trending piece, which as well, that's another topic, but as long as your videos are relevant, then your content does not get old. So number one about YouTube, people don't need to know who you are in order to find your content. And how amazing is that? Because if you provide a service, really, when you think about a customer, they want to solve their problem. They're not yet interested in knowing who anyone is unless you're solving their problem, right? Like, just let's think about ourselves as consumers. So number one, there's no barrier to entry. If someone wants a solution, they'll type it in and they're out there looking for solutions. Number two, your content does not get old. Because it's a search engine, your content is filtered by relevance. So if you think in your business, like if you provide a service which is under catered for on YouTube, let's say, let's use the example of kinesiology, right? So let's say you're a kinesiologist and someone's looking for, maybe their friend said, oh, my kinesiologist is really good, I want to try that. And you're like, I like the sound of that, but I want to find out more before I go ahead and make my booking, make my investment and go in that direction. They're going on Google, they're going on YouTube. Now, I know for a fact that there's not a lot of kinesiologists on YouTube because I've searched for the data, like I look for data, I look for missing content. I look for saturated content and understand ways to break through saturation, but I also look for content that is under catered for. And I know for a fact that there is not a lot of kinesiology content out there, right? So if you were the kinesiologist and you put this content out there, for every single time that one person types in, what is kinesiology? How does kinesiology work? Is kinesiology right for me? Making money with kinesiology healing, you know, and you are that business in an undercatered market, you instantly win, is what I'm saying. A lot of topics out there are undercatered for on YouTube because it's overlooked due to the trends of social media. Every time there's a new social media platform that like booms, it gets overlooked even more. But now that you're aware that there is no barrier to entry and people are on this platform when they're ready to invest, this is where it's at. So, and you can support your content. You can support your Instagram content with this. YouTube has the power to grow everything. Your Instagram, your Facebook, your email list, your sales. It has the power to do all of that because of its evergreen sort of search engine nature. That's what it's built for. So, like I said earlier, when audiences search on search engines, their intention to find their answer is far more potent than what their state of mind is and where their emotion is when they're on places like social media. On social media, you've got to kind of think from a business perspective. You're out there and you may capture them. You may capture them in that moment, in that emotion, and kind of like maybe it's something they've been thinking about. Whereas the reason why so YouTube works really well is because when someone's on there, they've willingly taken themselves there to try to find you. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do some live demo, and I'm going to show you exactly what I've been talking about. I'm going to show you some of the functions that some of the ingredients of a successful video on YouTube and why it works. So let's stop that share. I'm going to share a different screen.
And guys, just to remind you again, if you've got any questions at all, just drop them in the Q&A, and we will we'll get that at the end of the session. So please do drop them in.
Yes, please do. How's everything setting for you, Beck?
It's wonderful. It's so good, so rich in content already. Like honestly, it's so rich. It's amazing, and I'm sure everyone's still getting all these nuggets already. They're dropping in.
Oh, awesome. Okay, cool. And if you are having anything that sort of stands out, like please let me know. So here I go. I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna show you first the homepage. Can I have like maybe show of hands or a comment to say like if you've ever used YouTube for any reason whatsoever, whether you've watched it, searched for something, just like let us know in the chat. Just say me. Beck, have you ever been on YouTube?
We've got a few show of hands coming up.
Okay.
We've got a channel.
You have a channel. Yes, that's so exciting. Is it for your business, Tom? Is it like specifically for business or personal branding? All right, I'm going to share this screen here. It's for business. Awesome. All right, so I'm going to bring you into like the main, like the home section of YouTube. So there's a number of things that we normally like kind of glaze over, but all of these details about YouTube are the thing that makes it magic. So first of all, you've got your title, right? So your title is a very crucial thing. We'll go into it a bit deeper, but I'll just give you an overview of the 4 to 5 main things about YouTube. So you've got your title, and then you've got this image. So this image is like it's called a thumbnail. And then we've got your timestamp. This one's not super crucial, but it does play a role somewhere down the line. Search engine, sorry, I'm just off the top of my head. Titles, thumbnails. Oh, and when you click on a video, you've got the 30-second intro, right? So when you click on a video, if any one of these videos like took my attention, I'd click on it and then we'd go straight into the video. And what do you normally do when you click a video that you were wanting to find? You sit for the first, 10 to 30 seconds to see if it's what you want it to be, if it connects with your desires or the answer that you want. And if it does not give you that from the beginning, you'll click through the video, right, to see if it's giving you what you want. That is quite crucial to like YouTube in general. So that's number 3. Now, if anyone here has ever wondered how people go viral on here, here's the thing. It's about watch time. Watch time is the quantity of time that your audiences watch your video. 40% is the magic number. So what I'm saying here is if your video is 10 minutes long, a person doesn't need to watch the entire video for that to be supported and pushed out to the general public. So 40%, slightly under 40% is good as well, but that's the number that you're after. So when you're thinking about making a video for your business and you think, oh, this is just going to be a short video, it's only going to be 3 minutes. But if that 3-minute video is the thing that people are searching for and they're watching at least 40% of that, you can then see how you become the preferred content creator for YouTube for that particular thing. So those are 4 main things. So SEO, so searchable titles, are number 1. That's what's going to get your foot in the door. And the reason I say this is because I'll give you an example. Some videos your title might be like my best life. Now, okay, so let's say if that's me making that video, my best life, it's a vlog about my best life. You've also got to consider like, what is your audience typing in? The person who's wanting to find that video, would they ever type in my best life? Generally, like at the beginning stages of a channel, it's not very searchable, right? So your content might be golden, but if your title is not something that people search, then that in itself will allow it to sort of like drop off like this, right? Yeah. But on the flip side of that, if your video is something that people search, let's say for business, right? So if you're, I made some content for an e-commerce brand and they're a weighted blanket, right? Weighted blanket. So have a think about like your audience journey. They're typing in like people who have never heard about a weighted blanket, including myself before I'd made this video. I was like trying to figure out like, what am I making a video for? What is a weighted blanket? What does it do for me? Does it work? And so what we did with the search titles is we made it like, I tried a weighted blanket. So let me just show you what that is. And because this video worked really well for their sales. So,
so the key really with this is that you have to get inside your target market's brain and like the questions that you would just randomly ask. There's nothing too professional about it. It's just a very kind of straightforward question.
Yeah. Welcome back to my channel. Absolutely. You basically have to think about what your audience is thinking as in terms of search and make that your title. So for example, some channels might put in things like EP1, which stands for episode 1, which is nice for your filing system. But in terms of how that connects with someone else's search behaviors, it's highly unlikely that will connect because it's not something that people type in. However, if your episode 1 was how to brew Italian coffee, then you can expect that your video will show up in the search results for someone who's wanting to learn that. By the way, if anyone here has a specific business and you want us to check out whether your space is saturated or if there's a massive gap, feel free to pop it in the chat and then I can research it for you. But let me see if I can just find this video. And I'll break down like all of the, actually, you know what, let's just go with the most easy one to find. We'll go for this video. It's called I Drank Celery Juice for 10 Days and It Works. And so you can see, you would think that in a search behavior, like someone may not really type in like I drank celery juice. But in terms of like the actual wording in here, we've got celery juice is something that any person may type in, right? So when you think about your titles, These are called keywords. Keywords are like the kind of like the vanity word. It's like, or the operative word. It's the descriptive word of what you're looking for. So celery juice, that is the main word here. And so then that allowed the video to show up. But when we look at the thumbnail, so we'll go back a step, this one. So your thumbnail, all right, so let's say you've done the work in order for your videos to get found. So when someone types it in, great, your video is showing up. Now what? Well, generally when the search results show up, your video shows up alongside a bunch of other videos, right? So the job of this image, this thumbnail, that is like your official invitation and say, like, come and watch my video. Now, the good thing about YouTube is it's not really like this place of competition. It's similar to Netflix, right? Like if you find a movie that you want to watch on Netflix, it doesn't mean that you're not going to watch the other movies. It just means that you're going to watch this movie right now, and then you can watch the other ones later on. So that's kind of similar with like your videos on YouTube. So it's not so much about like canceling everybody else. It's more about like, how do you stand out in and amongst all of the other content? And you stand out by your thumbnails, right? Once you get here to this second stage, this is the second part of the recipe. Once you get through this stage, the rest of it is reliant on your content. So a lot of people might, make content and it's an amazing video, but because all of the work has been put into making that amazing video, they're like, I'm just going to put up in a thumbnail because like I need it. But it's like the piece that if you do it well, there's a few formulas. There's like some very popular formulas that work on YouTube. So once you work out that formula, it actually becomes pretty smooth sailing from there on. But consider like this, like a Hollywood film. They make the film and there's a lot of time and, that's a big production. But how do they sell the film? One of the main ways is by having a poster. And that poster shows the face. It shows the title of the movie. And that is the role of your thumbnail. So once you're there and someone actually clicks through, the next piece of the puzzle is the first 30 seconds. Now, the first 30 seconds, the reason why it's like a valuable piece. It's a valuable piece of the recipe is because that's when someone watches your video for at least 30 seconds, that tells YouTube, oh, people like this video. So it's like YouTube takes the data of your audience's behavior to say, oh, someone's liking this video, let's push it out to more people. Now, consider this. Actually, yeah, we'll go into the consider this after this one next point. So, okay, you're getting the people to watch for at least 30 seconds and they're loving it. And then they stay for the rest of your video. And then you have, let's say this is your first video and then you get 10 views and people have stayed at least 40% of that video. So YouTube is like, hey, people kind of like this video. So next time someone searches it, let's put this up in the search results. Let's show it to more people. And if it continues to gain that result, then you're getting your videos really pushed out and it's becoming viral. And once it's viral, it's basically up there. It says this video is credible. Basically, if your audience's search behaviors match that, it just says, oh, this video is, let's push it out more because it's giving the audience what they want. It's delivering on the value that people want. Now, consider this. So earlier I was like, consider this, but now let's consider this. Imagine that was your video for your business. So just to give you some insight, like, so I work in the coaching space, right? And there's one content creator and she had a 27-pound product. It was 27 pounds. So in order to make a profit, you would assume that needs to sell at a high volume for it to be good, for it to be like profitable, right? Well, one of her videos went viral. So that one 27-pound product became a 6-figure income because YouTube picked it up. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, and not just that, virality does not finish just like that. It can. So if you've gone viral because of a specific trend, let's say Instagram Reels is trending right now, and let's say you do a tutorial that teaches people how to do Instagram Reels. So you might go viral right away, but it doesn't just go away, really. Because if you put a video on YouTube and it is, yes, it leveraged a trend, but it hasn't stopped being relevant, like this celery juice one, it hasn't stopped being relevant because yes, it was a trend 3 years ago, but people are still interested in learning what celery juice does. And so it continues to gain traction. Now, like this one was an experiment, but one of the main questions I had out of like 1.2 million views is, where did you get your juicer from and what is its brand? And so, yeah, so if this was in partnership with the celery juice, with the juicer that I was using, because truly, I just made like a comment about this particular juicer. I just made a comment about it, about how good it was because it's so old and it's just working so well, blah, blah. That's the kind of thing that results in sales. So I just want to give another example of causing sales. Oh, so the weighted blanket video that I made was for a sponsor. So when I was doing this content, it was before coaching days and it was for e-commerce products. So if you're an e-commerce business or if you're a product-based business, think about this. A lot of people invest, I'm not saying to not do this, but I'm just saying to open, like to widen the horizons. A lot of e-commerce brands are kind of working alongside Instagram influencers because that's what's on trend right now. But considering everything that we've spoken about before about your content, if one person posts one post and then they post 9 more posts after that, your post that you invested in is now down the feed, right? But when you invest in a content creator on YouTube, that means that that content will continue to become relevant as long as it's a product that people are looking for. And so anyway, after doing the weighted blanket video, it was probably about 12 months after that weighted blankets got trending. And so so the views picked up after that. So for probably a few months, it was just average, but then it started to trend. And then there's this piece of content on there that shows how it works and how well it worked and how I got 9 hours of sleep. So it's like this ongoing living testimonial. So it's just something to consider. If you're in the product space, investing in YouTube content creators may be like, it's a very valuable kind of investment because it will continue to go for as long as it's relevant. And then, so basically to summarize the 4 main things, it is your title, so searchability, and then you've got the thumbnail. The thumbnail is one that can be neglected, often is neglected by brands, but if you do not neglect this, then that is the one that opens the doors to the content that you've gone ahead and made. And then you want 30 seconds watch time. So a lot of things that some businesses do is for the first 30 seconds is they'll put a long like logo or a very long introduction about who we are and what we do. But think about yourself as a consumer. When you're out there wanting to find an answer, you want the answer first. So if you're going to do this, flip it around, provide the answer first, and then introduce who you are. Because once you've provided value, then who you are becomes hyper relevant to the person that you've just helped. That flipping your script like that will make a world of difference to your results. And then you've got the 40% watch time. So 40% watch time is really that is made of your actual video production. So if you're making your own videos, then it's something to be aware of. Like if you are presenting yourself, you kind of be like, okay, we want to make sure that we are delivering what the people want. Or if you're hiring a team, then you want to kind of treat your videos kind of like, if you know how they normally say, what's the saying about if you're in doubt, like go with it. For me, on YouTube, it's more like if in doubt about that bit of footage or that one bit of sentence, take it away. It's so cut. If you're in doubt, like that it delivers value and you yourself are in doubt, just take it away. Because if you're in doubt, then just take it away. Shorter is better. Shorter and high value is better than like kind of a maybe and it's long. Yeah. You almost want to like
quality over quantity.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Quality over quantity. You almost want to, it's better to leave someone wanting more than kind of just waiting for it to be over. Guys, everything I'm telling you, I learned everything the hard way because I went in here like not knowing a thing. I've made the wrong titles. I've made my bloopers like sit around for way too long because I thought it was funny. Like, I've done all of the mistakes. And then that's the thing that got me to look in and be like, why is that video done really well? And why did that like flop?
Yeah.
So, Yeah,
can I just vouch as well? That celery juice one, I mean, actually has impacted my daily life, because I now do celery juice most days off of your
really.
YouTube clip. Absolutely. And you know, because I was looking at it, I looked into it, and you inspired me, and I looked into it, and after that I kind of went with it. And you know, that's the power of these things. It can actually, like, you've influenced my daily week, my health of my daily week. Do you know what I mean? Just because it was a topic you were interested in. I know, it's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing as well, like for businesses, if you are in business and you want to create that impact, right? Let's say what you do is powerful, and it, like, you know, it can shift someone's health or someone's belief or something about that. Like this has the power to do that with, it's almost like the platform with like less effort but bigger effect. So, and do you want to know just one more thing? I have to share. I used to think about whether I should share this or not, but I think it's just better if you're here because you have a business and you have invested in content creation for your business. Generally, marketing expenses are looked at as an expense, of course, up until it converts, like obviously until you convert to sales. But YouTube is one of the few platforms, it's the original platform that had content creation, not royalties, it's called Google AdSense. So you get paid Google AdSense. So I saw something on the other day on Instagram, like just saying, oh, paid $500,000 in Facebook ads. It, on the other end of things, made $170,000 on YouTube with her marketing content, So it's just, when you know about these functions, I mean, that's not to say that I don't do Facebook advertising, because I do. I invest in ads. But when you're just aware of functionalities and interfaces and the strengths and the weaknesses of platforms, you're able to make a more empowered decision about what you want to do and where you want to like invest your time and money. So
amazing.
I think the person's popping in. So shall we go to the questions?
Let's do the questions. Yeah. So I think what Tom was saying with regards to the leadership and culture change, I think that was you were asking about the certain topics to have a look at. That was sort of one that was coming in. We've got, let's go first to the Q&A question, because I think that one came in first. So this is from David. Any regrets from the time you started with YouTube? If you would start all over again, what would you do differently?
I love this question because I made so many mistakes. Oh my gosh. Like, had I known that this had the power to build a business. So before I started YouTube, I had no like business knowledge or experience at all whatsoever. I actually thought I was in YouTube to build a personal brand and become a travel influencer so I could start traveling again, but not as a flight attendant. But then when I was like, I started to see all of these incoming questions. And the thing about YouTube is the audience is like, it's actually, you feel I felt the closest, I felt connected. Anyway, one of the biggest mistakes is that I had not set up for a business back then. So when people just sent me questions, which could have easily turned into a consult or a digital product that could support them all the way. Like what happened in my life was like, if I was too busy, I'd simply not be able to answer the question and just like let it float away. And that was just a missed opportunity for both of us. For the person who was like trusting me, and and I just wasn't able to cater to that. So basically setting up my digital infrastructures to be able to support the growth of the channel, I would have done that first. Another simple, this was a little mistake, but it's a simple one. Because I didn't see my channel to grow and I didn't really understand the power of it, I never put my Instagram handle. I never put my Instagram handle in any of my videos, because I was just like, it's just a video. Like, it's not going to really, what can it do? And then when I realized that, when you're thinking about this from a business perspective, all of your media platforms, they are an asset to your business. So when you treat it that way and you treat this like an ecosystem, beyond the profit, beyond the business side of things, you're actually able to serve your audience at a far greater level when your infrastructures are set up. That's it. And what happened with me is like a lot of people fell down the holes. They asked me a question, oh, I'm unavailable, okay, and then they asked me, and I was going through this like wave. I did not treat it as a business, because I didn't know that it was capable of becoming that.
Oh, wow.
So that was, if I were to do it again, I'd be like, I would add my lead magnet you know, or the freebie that people can have.
Yeah.
What else? I would do my Instagram thing. I would start, yeah, those are the main things. I pivoted a lot. So that's, if you're already here in your business, you're like, you know what you want to do, you know where you want it to go. You would harness that topic, that niche, and you would identify what are your best keywords, and then really work on your production so that you get that watch time that gets YouTube to promote it. I was very much in the discovery kind of phase of my life where I'm like, what do I like to make content about? So, you know, my channel grew for this reason, and then I went over here. So pivoting content, if you ever pivot content, there's a process. You can pivot, but there's a better process compared to what I did, which was just like, I'll talk about flight attending today, and then tomorrow I'll be like, I started a social media marketing agency. Like, so if you're gonna pivot, just like simply do it. Yeah.
And now, you know, this is where it's all come from, because that was your journey in order for you to now be able to actually like show others how to do it, and you can sort of cut out the middleman for them. So David also put, I just posted my YouTube channel about examples of metaphorical storytelling, uploaded about 20 videos, but not much happening there. He said, feel free to review it if you can. Yeah, so hopefully, David, you'll be able to have taken something from this as well, to be able to see where maybe the missing link is with all of that. Have you got anything to add with that, Kristine?
It's probably, if nothing much is happening with it, it's likely one of the 4 elements that we've spoken about. My first bet would be title. And then if it's not the title, then the thumbnail. It's these are the first 2 things. But if these are working and people are actually clicking your video, then that's when you know it's the content. So you have these indicators. If you're not getting clicks at all, so your views are down, your subscribers are down, then it's got to do with your titles and your thumbnails. But if you are getting those clicks, so you're getting some views, but then they drop off, that's your production. Yeah. It's so easy to tell with YouTube. It's unlike, it's like crazy.
Wow, that's so cool. I love that. So simple as well, and those things you can really look into now, and and good. And the thing is as well with this now is you can reference Kristine's as well. So from what she said, you can go and reference her own videos from that. Do you add hashtags into the description, not in the title?
Yes, into the description. Yes. So I believe it's 2 to 3 hashtags, and that will kind of help it. But you know what? The description is prime, like it's prime real estate. Think about, like, you know, we talked about this being a search engine, right? And search engines are made of like words and like numbers and words and letters. So when you write your description, if you want your video to rank, to like have the chance of ranking, then fill your description with at least 200 to 250 words of keywords, so the operative word, the vanity word related to your business. So if I'm talking about kinesiology, I would write in kinesiology in my description many times, and then other things that it's related to, like energy healing, muscle healing, chiropractic, chi energy, anything that's kind of related to, because that helps YouTube understand what your video is. So hashtags, yes, put in the description box, but also make your description like a mini blog, even if you just want to like repeat the words that you said in your video. Yeah,
because it's all like you say, SEO stuff, like it's all repeating those words.
That's right.
Amazing. So I think you may have already answered this a little bit, but I'll read it out anyway. It's so amazing. Did you learn everything about YouTube yourself, or did you have some support, somebody you could ask for help for? Was this all?
No, I've worked with a lot of coaches, and the one thing I never got coaching for was YouTube. I don't know why. I felt like quite native to it. Like I was quite happy to learn to like make the mistake. So I didn't really take it super seriously. I was just taking the cues and understanding like, oh, what's working. And then what actually happened was I actually got into business because of YouTube and the inquiries. So I was getting all of these inquiries. And then one day I watched someone else's YouTube video and she said, oh, if you want to book a session with me, just go to the link in my description. I'm like, what? People are taking bookings from YouTube videos. And I thought, I'm going to set up my calendar too. Because then that way I don't have to. What was happening was I would answer questions and I would write these long emails to answer people's questions, like in my spare time. And then it just became unsustainable. But anyway, so I learned it, but I did study media productions in university. And I think that really helped with understanding film.
Yeah.
Film and pacing and editing and that kind of thing. So I think that's where my degree kind of like really played its role.
Okay, we have Tom says, is there software that shows what's being searched for, identifying keywords?
Yeah, so I use something called Tubebuddy, Tube, yeah, Buddy, all one word. I might have a link here where I think if you use this link, you might have a free trial for a period of time. But what it does, oh, let me show you. Do you want to see it? Let me see if I can find it. It shows you, so you have to install something into your actual browser. So I use Google Chrome, and if you install their little their widget here, I type it in here. I think you get a free trial if you do this. Yes, I'm an affiliate for them, but I use them for everything, for my clients, for myself. Like, so let me just show you an example of how it shows up. So this, please bear in mind that this is a function of Tubebuddy. It's not just a YouTube function on its own. So does anyone want to type in, like, does anyone want us to search? Oh, let's do the one that, David, what was your business? Cultural change?
Or leadership or cultural change.
Leadership. So I'm just going to type in randomly. Okay, so see this, what's coming up on the right-hand side? This is a Tubebuddy function. So the main things that you can see is like search volume. Now, what search volume means is how many people are searching for this exact combination of words. So this exact combination of words in this specific order. So it's very particular, but not to say that, you know, people might search cultural change for leadership. But this is like, basically the search volume tells us if it's in the red, it means that it's not searched very much at all. But if it's in the green zone, it means it's highly searched. And then here in the competition, it means like red means that you have a lot of competition. Like that's what some people call like saturated. But if it's in the green zone, that means that you don't have a lot of competition at all. Now let's kind of like put this result into context. So it says here that it's in the green. So you don't have, if your video is about leadership, cultural change, you don't have a lot of competition at all. So that's great. Number one, that means that there's like a massive space on YouTube for you. Now search volume, it's in the kind of like orange to yellow zone, which means that it's kind of searched, which makes sense, right? Because leadership and cultural change is a very specific thing. So the more specific your topic is, you might actually find that search volume is quite low because the general population of you, like there's billions of how many YouTube users, and this is just accounting for that quantity of users and how many of those quantity of users are actually searching for this exact combination of words. So if I were in your shoes, what I would do is I would type in, you know, something else that's what are the elements of like leadership that the layman would be searching. So when you type in things like leadership, that assumes that someone already is interested in leadership, they want to know more about leadership, but it calls for a specific type of person. And also leadership in what? So if you're like talking about leadership in the corporate world, you might type in not just leadership, cultural change, you might just say like you know, leadership in a specific industry. Now that will connect more likely to the person that you're looking for. So basically, to go back to the original question, yes, there is a tool. Tubebuddy is the one. I like it because it's very visual and it's actually got a lot more functions than what I've just shown you. But for a visual, like people who like to read, you know, read data in a visual way, it's a very simple one to read. Now, there's another one called Keywords Everywhere, but that's actually more for Google in general. So it's kind of a nice to have, but it's not a YouTube specific kind of function. Yes. Yeah.
Amazing. Wow.
I recommend.
Okay, so I think, and I actually had a question as well, because I think this is a general one, is that I think the main thing is, well, first of all, I would like to know what's your sort of take on why do you think so many people, like, they don't go onto YouTube when they, you know, do you think it's more of a case of they don't know what the capability is of it, or is it more of a case of, I've got to put myself on video? Like, which one is that?
Probably a bit of both. I'm glad you found it that valuable. I think a bit of both really, because I think when people look at YouTube, it feels so like official. So if you're kind of interested in it, the thing that stops people is because they know it's so official that a lot of people are waiting to be perfect to go on there. But the other one is on the flip side of things, a lot of people just think, oh, my kids watch YouTube. Like, I just don't see how it makes money and I don't see how it fits. And so it's overlooked because the power of trends into Instagram, like, you know, if you're scrolling Instagram and someone's saying Instagram's the most powerful thing in the world and no one's talking about how good YouTube is, it's easy to kind of like go in that direction because there's a lot of news about it. But I think, like I said, when you understand the functionalities of different platforms and how those specific functions serve your business, you'll be able to know when it's time to go hard on Instagram or TikTok and how you can support that with YouTube. You don't even need to have and want to grow a strong YouTube channel for your YouTube video. The other day, I have to tell you the story. The other day, a client of mine posted a video. She had 3 views. She has 20 subscribers. But guess what? She made $1,000 because someone in the States Googled what she was doing and she liked the video. What happens is when people search the thing, if by the time they click your video, you have your energy, you have the way that you speak, you have you. People get to see you. And I thought that was just such a cool thing to happen because there's this misconception that in order for your YouTube to work for your business, that you need to spend all this time to grow it and make all this content. But really, you just have to align your search words, your thumbnails, your content, and understand what your audience wants. And then when that's supported by your business's infrastructure, like, you're laughing basically. So it was cool. She told me, she's like, yeah, I just put up this video. She goes, and I went to bed and I got this email and I thought it was spam because after all of the years that she spent on Instagram, this had never happened. So she's like, I thought it was spam. There was like 2 lines in there. And then she goes, you know what, I'm just going to give it the benefit of the doubt and I'll reply. And then as it turns out, this lady wanted her service. And then next thing you know, she then messaged me like a few minutes later, oh, booked and paid, done. And I thought, that's so cool. She's a healer. She's in the coaching healing sector. That makes me really happy.
Okay, last 2 quick questions and then we will tie this up. Why do some people go to Vimeo? Are there any advantages of Vimeo?
I think Vimeo, so I'm on Vimeo as well. I use Vimeo for private videos, like not private, like private. So content that I have either specifically for clients. So Vimeo has possibility to lock, password protected. So a lot of creatives will put their work there if they want only a small amount of people to watch it. But also Vimeo is really good in the way that if you're using, that platform to post an ad, there are no extra videos that are promoted at the end of it. So if you use YouTube, no matter what you do, you will always have like the promoted other videos at the end of your video. So, and that's quite an important thing if you're making videos specifically to run ads. So Vimeo is good for privacy. YouTube is great for the greater, wider, most public sort of access.
Right, perfect. That's so good. And are there any tricks to get people to subscribe?
Well, yes, I will show you one thing. It's not really a trick, it's just a function. So let me see. It's not even really, is this the right window? That's not the right window. I'm getting confused. When you go into YouTube, on the bottom right-hand corner of any video, so let's say here's my screen, on the bottom right-hand corner here, you can actually have like a little YouTube subscribe watermark and that can appear for the entire video. And so that's just kind of like a subliminal message. The tricks to getting people to subscribe, it's no real tricks. It's just like understand what your audience wants and then deliver on that desire. And then that's pretty much it. Think about yourself as well. Like, what have you ever wanted to learn about? And then how did you find that? And what for you deemed that content good? When that's the art of it. But the thing about this is, like, once you master the art of this, you just do it, rinse and repeat. A lot of my clients always say, wow, like since I've learned YouTube, I understand now how to market in general, because marketing is all about understanding your audience.
Yeah.
It's not just about videos. It's not just about, like, those videos and thumbnails need to connect. And so, yeah, it's a powerful one. Like,
Yeah.
when you, all of these questions are so good because they're all related to like how much, well, how you master and understand what your audience wants, and then how to deliver on that based on the content that you have. If you guys, yes.
No, go on, you go on.
I was going to say, just in case, like, if there are any burning questions, because I understand we're running, we're at the hour mark. If you have any specific questions that you want to like ask, feel free to get in touch with me. I'm just going to leave the screen here so that if there's like, if anyone wants to write it down or whatever.
Amazing. And all of your also in On a Small World as well, you've got all of the bits and pieces. I can add in any extra things there that we didn't put in, so that you've got all of the links there, so if anyone needs to refer back to that, they can do on the platform also.
Awesome. Yes.
Yeah,
that sounds good, because I know like there are a lot of elements about YouTube, and so, but yeah, once you get that, you pretty much get the rest of marketing.
Fantastic. Awesome. And is there any, so this is where they need to contact you, and you've got a free thumbnail class as well. That's amazing. Wow. Okay, that's
I had a feeling that our like, we can cover so much with YouTube, but you can probably tell by now that each of these one piece of that recipe, there's something about that when you get that, okay, you can tick that off the box and start applying it. So I have a mastermind that I run, and that's a group that's already running. But if you're interested in seeing or getting a peek or actually doing this, I can provide you a free thumbnail class. So it's actually a module from one of the things that that I have with my mastermind. And so I haven't got it. Like, if you're interested in that, just send me a message on one of these platforms, because this is specifically for you guys. So it's not something that I have out public or anything like that. But if you enjoy this, and you're interested in it, we can provide you access for that.
That's wonderful. That's exclusive for ASW exclusive. That's amazing. Thank you so much for that.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, well, I think we're going to wrap it up there then, Kristine, because I think we've done all the questions, we've covered everything. That was so amazingly rich of content and beautifully delivered as well, and you know, everybody was really engaged with that as well, and I think you've really given some people some food for thought on YouTube now, and you know, just tackled a few of those objections that come up with all of that. So thank you so much. And yes, we'll be tying this up now, and as I say, all those links are going to be on A Small World as well. So if you need any sort of contact with that, the video is being recorded as well, so that will be uploaded to our YouTube, so you can rewatch if you wanted to refer back to any of those things. Okay,
thank you for having me, everybody. Thank you so much, and thank you for the questions. It was insightful. Thank you, Beck.
Amazing.
It's a pleasure.
Welcome. Lovely. All right, then we'll sign off now. Thank you so much, and take care.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Kristine. Bye.
Bye.